All right, so ACT for 5-6. Now, 56 is something that probably only 10% of all DHS students take enough trig to do. It's a very small number, plain and simple. You guys have only seen SOHCAHTOA. You know, I'm talking about my juniors. My juniors have only seen SOHCAHTOA. I will dumb this way down. Way down. All right? It's the wrong way to do it, but it's the only way I can probably get y'all to figure it out. Here's what I'm going to do. I know that the sine ratio is opposite over hypotenuse. I know that the cosine ratio is adjacent over hypotenuse, and I know that tangent is opposite over adjacent. It comes from that little acronym of SOHCAHTOA. So with that in mind, I'm going to rewrite every single thing I see in terms of O over H, A over H, and so forth. And we're going to see where that goes. Then I'm going to look at the answer choices. All right. So cosine is going to be opposite over adjacent. I am dividing that by tangent, which is opposite over adjacent, and that is getting multiplied by sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse. The top is adjacent over hypotenuse divided by O squared, because O times O is O squared, AH. Now to divide by a fraction, we multiply by her reciprocal, A over H, times AH over O squared. The H's are in corresponding positions, they will cancel. And I am left with A squared over O squared, which happens to be what we call cotangent squared, which happens to be cosine squared over sine squared, but you don't know that. So let's go and look at our answer choices. This is cosine squared of x. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Since it's cosine squared, I square. Sine squared is O over H. I square. This is A squared over H squared divided by O squared over H squared. And then I multiply by the reciprocal, H squared over O squared, and the H's cancel. Choice F. I cannot dumb that down anymore. I feel wrong teaching how to simplify those kind of things using 10th grade math standards, but it's doable. Plain and simple. If you're watching this video and you're wanting to correct me, believe me, I know how to do this correctly. This was not it, but it works. 57. If A is inversely proportional to B and A is 36 when B is 12, what is the value of A when B is 48? These ideas were stripped from Tennessee state standards this year. They are no longer taught in the state of Tennessee in Algebra 2. So again, this is a standard not taught in Tennessee Algebra 2. All right, doesn't exist. But an inverse relationship is y equals some constant divided by x. In this case, we're talking about A being inversely proportional to B. So A is some constant divided by B. That's the deal. Now they give me a couple situations here. They say A is 36 when B is 12. So 36 is going to be some constant, which I'll just call K for constant, over B when B is 12. And this enables me to figure out the constant. All right. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 12. So I 12 both sides and I'll be done with it. And I'm a little tired, so forgive me. We got 360 and 72, 432. K is 432. What I did is I 12'd both sides, kids. Now, what is the value of A when B is 48? All right, I'll just plug stuff in. A is going to be this constant of 432 divided by 48. And presumably that goes in nicely. I feel like it goes in 9 times. I think if I pulled up a calculator and did 432 divided by 48, I'd probably get 9. I feel pretty strongly about that. So A is 9. There might be another way of doing this. I don't know that we need proportions. We could probably do something like 36 is to 12, A is to B, as maybe A is to 48. No, that wouldn't work. Wouldn't work. So, bad idea. You'd think it would, but it didn't. Moving forward. 58. For which of the following values of C, or there'll be two distinct real solutions to the equation 5x squared plus 16x plus C equals 0? Oh. So this is for a handful of children who actually remember what the discriminant is. Discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. And if it's greater than or equal to 0, there are two real solutions. So that's the deal. I'm going to take this stuff, plug in. B is going to be 16. Take away 4 times 5, because A is 5, times C, which is just C, and set it greater than or equal to 0. Now 16 squared is going to be, what, 256? Minus 20C, greater than or equal to 0. So it's not that bad. It's really not that bad of a problem. I'm going to move that 256 over. I feel like I've done something wrong here, but maybe not. We'll see. Anyways, negative 20C is greater than or equal to negative 256. I'm dividing by a negative 20, so I've got to flip my inequality symbol. And how many times does 20 go into 256? Like 12.8 times? Seems right. 240. 16, yeah. So C has to be less than 12.8. And that's the only disclaimer. Interesting. Hmm. 12 should work. 12 should work. But by that logic, so should that one. All right, so I paused this real quick because there's two correct answers on this one I wanted to verify. What I did while it was paused was I let C be 3 or 12 because it just says C is less than or equal to 12.8, and looked at the graph, and they both work. Okay, I want to remind you, this is not a real ACT test. All right, this particular question has two correct answers. It could be F or G. One of the two. Could be F or G. And they're both right. This isn't a real test. So mistakes happen. This question was obviously not looked at closely when they created it. But it'd be 12. All right. And by the way, this is a valid technique that I used. I knew that they were real solutions because I crossed the x-axis. So anyways, think about that. All right, moving on to 59. If the volume of a cube is 64, what is the shortest distance from the center of the cube to the base of the cube? So I'm going to draw a cube. I've got some funny looking answers here, but I'm going to draw a cube. Now, if I have a volume of a cube, and I know that the volume of a cube is to take a side and cube it, and I know the volume is 64, then each side length has to be 4. This thing is 4 wide, 4 long, 4 tall. They're all sides of 4. Now, notice they talk about the center of the cube. You are in the middle of the cube. You're not at the middle of a face. You're stuck in the middle of a cube. That makes this thing a lot harder. It makes it a whole lot harder. The answer should be 2 root 2, but that's not there. Interesting. So let's see what we come up with here. And the hard part is drawing this so you boys and girls understand this. You are smack dab in the center of the box. That's where you are. You're in the center of the box. Well, actually, I don't know why I'm overthinking this. I am really overthinking this. I'm going to the base of the cube. The thing's only 4 units tall. The answer's 2. I'm overthinking this. The answer's 2. 60. What is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to the line determined by the equation 5x plus 8y equals 17? So I know that perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. So I'm going to take my original equation, 5x plus 8y equals 17, and I'm going to convert to y equals mx plus b. I'd have 8y equals a negative 5x plus 17, and I divide by 8. And now it looks like negative 5/8 x plus 17/8. This is my slope. My slope is negative 5/8. The perpendicular slope must be 8/5 because we are opposite reciprocals. Choice K. And that, boys and girls, is your ACT 456. That one threw me off right there. This one, obviously, I ain't thinking. But the answer's 2. Has to be 2. There's nothing else it could be.